Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the podcast. My name is Daniel. This is the Daniel Teaches Experience, the podcast where the psychology student brings you his 2 cents from his lectures, his readings, his personal anecdotes to share with you for you to agree, disagree, but really just to enlighten your thinking. Once again, this is never, this is what I say and what I say is the word of God. Absolutely not. It's, look, this is what I've read and I want to share this information with you, and you do with this information as you please. As always, I want to thank you so much for supporting me, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on TikTok, on Instagram. I appreciate you. Please reach out to me. Let me know which topics you like. Let me know which topics you want to hear more of in the future, and I'll be happy to make a video on it. By reading the title, you know that today's topic is on the taboo side of things. This is one of those things that I think a lot of people struggle with, particularly in young men, and I'll tell you why I specified young men in pornography as opposed to just people in pornography. I'm going to start off with a story, and this story is going to depict why this is such an important topic for us here today. Imagine you are a young 15, 16-year-old male. We live in a society, mostly, where as a man, it is generally expected that you are the go-getter, you are the leader, you are the initiator. As a man, you need to be confident, and if you like a girl, you approach her and you ask her out. You make the first move. Now, it's not like word of God. You don't have to, but it's almost looked down upon if you don't. Like being a man and being shy, being a man and not being outgoing, not being able to flirt is generally looked down upon. Like no one's ever like, oh dude, like you're not smooth with your words when talking to women. Like, oh, that's awesome, dude. That's so cool. It generally doesn't happen. Now, here's a fascinating thing that I want to share with all of you. How does a man decide if he approaches a woman and asks her out? If I see a woman in a bar, in a library, on campus, on the street, how do I decide if I go up to her or not? There's actually a formula for this. And you're like, Daniel, how does this relate to pornography? We'll get there. Follow me. The formula for if a heterosexual male is going to approach a woman is this. There are 2 things: her physical attractiveness plus the probability that she will accept my advances. The chances of her accepting my advances. What does that mean? I see a woman, I think she's absolutely beautiful, and I've got high self-esteem. I think if I go over there and I ask for her number, let's say there's a 70% chance she'll say yes, I am going to approach her. Now, you might be in a position where you see a beautiful woman, but you think, you know what, man, she's way out of my league. If I go out and approach her and ask her out, there's no way she's going to say yes. The probability of her accepting my advances are low. But she is beautiful. You know what, I don't want to embarrass myself. I'm not going to ask her out. Or vice versa. You think, you know what, if I asked her out, she'd probably say yes, but I'm not very physically attracted to her. So then you don't. So that's the formula, roughly speaking. Again, this isn't like 100% fact. This is one theory out there that says it's physical attractiveness plus the chances of them accepting your advances. Now, here's what's interesting. When you look at men who have high self-esteem, if they believe that there is a high risk, like meaning if you're a man who's got high self-esteem and you think, look, there's a chance she'll accept me, but there's also a chance that she rejects me, you are more likely to take that risk as opposed to being a man who has low self-esteem. Because if you have high self-esteem, you will be more likely to take a gamble. If she's a very good-looking woman and you're like, all right, I got a 50% success rate, let's give it a try. Let's see, it's exciting. I can fail. I believe in myself because I have good self-esteem. But if you are someone with poor self-esteem, and you look at that woman who's beautiful, you are more likely to think, man, she's way out of my league, so you're not even going to approach her. Okay? So if you have low self-esteem, how do you end up approaching the beautiful woman? It's very simple. You increase your chances of success. If I have low self-esteem and if I want to ask you out, what do? I don't just ask you out point blank because I don't have the self-esteem to do that. I butter you up first. I compliment you. I tell you you're beautiful, maybe. Maybe I lend you a pencil if you need one. Maybe I do a favor for you, or I I take up interest in your interests and I become your friend. And in my mind, I'm earning points and I'm increasing the probability of you accepting my advances. Okay, this is really important to know. So, really quick side note, sometimes I hear girls say, like, there's no good guys out there, or like, I only talk to like losers, or I only talk to players or people who want to use me. If you're a player who only sleeps with women and like doesn't look at them as like girlfriend material, but just to sleep with for a night, you have to have high self-esteem. You can't have low self-esteem and just be with different women on different nights, because it takes a lot of high self-esteem to go, yeah, I can sleep with any woman I want to. Sure, I can sleep with 2 to 3 women a week. Who cares? So a lot of women who go, look, I love confidence in a man, and if you can't approach me, then like, I don't want to be with you either, because it shows that you have a lack of confidence and you have a lack of self-esteem. The problem with that statement is that those players have a lot of high self-esteem. So if you're a girl who likes to sit back and just likes being approached, the amount of guys that approach you that are going to be players and want to take advantage of you will be a lot. And that good guy who you're looking out for, he's in the corner of the room. He's a great guy. He thinks you're beautiful. Maybe his self-esteem isn't the greatest, but that's why he doesn't approach you. So all of a sudden, those girls come out and they say there's no more good guys left, not knowing that they're all around her. But she just doesn't notice her. So there's a little side note there. How does this relate to young men and pornography? Look, if I have poor self-esteem, we talked about how do I increase my chances of getting accepted, before I take the plunge. Before I ask you out on a date, I want to lower the risks. What if there was a way that I could fulfill my sexual desires with almost any woman from any ethnicity, from any body size, at any point in time while being at home? I don't have to pay for gas. I don't have to have any sort of social etiquette. I don't have to be great with my words. I don't have to pay. And there is a 0% chance of rejection. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to pornography. A young man's heaven. Maybe you're 16 years old, you're not that good looking, you're not that great at talking to people, you're worried about being rejected. Pornography takes rejection completely out of the picture. It says, look, you want to talk to beautiful women, or more, you want to experience all those things and trick your brain into still having those fantasies, you can do that. There's no need to go out. There's no need to work on not being creepy and work on being flirty and having goals in your life. It doesn't matter if you're unfit. It doesn't matter if you're a 50-year-old man and you want to look at 20-year-old women. It's all possible in the beautiful world of pornography, where rejection does not exist. The woman can be as beautiful as she wants to be. You can still watch the video. So I'm not saying that everyone who's low self-esteem watches porn, everyone who's high, that's not what I mean to say, but I want that to show you how that can be one form of a pipeline, where if you don't have a lot of success with women, pornography is this kind of beautiful, fascinating place, which will say, look, you can still fill out those desires, which are totally normal. Not to mention, as a man, I might not be 100% right on this, but I believe your testosterone peaks between either 19 or 22. Testosterone makes you aggressive. Testosterone fuels those sexual desires. So it's normal to have them. But if anxiety holds you back from going to a party, if it holds you back from talking to women, you're going to have to fulfill those desires in other ways, right? And that's where pornography comes in. So now you have young men who watch a lot of pornography. What does that mean? Well, it means that you have access to a lot of things. Let's talk about drug overdose for a second. How does someone overdose on drugs? To simplify it, you're going, Daniel, why is this important? Just follow me. I promise it will be. Look, if I take a little bit of cocaine for the first time ever, it's going to just rip my system apart. I'm going to feel like I'm on top of a mountain. After the third or fourth time of taking that amount, I start to build up a tolerance to it, the same way you would to alcohol. Now, I need to take a higher dosage to get the same high. Eventually, I have to increase the dosage so much to get the high that I used to get. I go over the limit, and I kill myself, essentially. Like, that's one thing that we see with depressants such as Xanax, where you take something that is supposed to calm your nervous system, but eventually you build up a tolerance to Xanax. So you take it over and over and over again. Do you know how someone overdoses on Xanax, by the way? You get so calm that when you go to inhale, your diaphragm doesn't expand and you suffocate to death. Just think about that before taking Xanax or other depressant medication. So look, we build tolerance to things. So now that 16, 17-year-old who would see a girl his age take her top off and just would lose his mind and go, oh my God, after seeing that 50 times on Pornhub, what do you think that does to his tolerance level? Now that's not enough anymore, so now we need something else. Taking your top off it, so now we need you to do this, we should do that. One girl isn't enough anymore, now we need two girls. You need to look like this, and she has to have this, and do you see where I'm going with this? So now to get that same sexual stimulus, you're going to have to keep upping up the ante. And there are some gimmicks out there, dude. And I don't want to come off judgmental, but people have different tastes and different kinks. And what we see that is those kinks get exacerbated over time as we view them more often. Right? Like the first kiss that you have, if it's with someone that you like, oh my God, like, oh, Joe, awesome, awesome. Once you've been married with someone for like 15, 20 years, you give them a kiss, it's good. It's good, it's great even. But it's not like the first time. It's just not. So you're a young man, you're watching a lot of pornography, and that's going to start impacting you. And in the beginning, it starts fulfilling your sexual desires, but over time, you feel like you need to up the ante. Now, this young man gets a girlfriend. He somehow gets a girl to like him. Here's what the problem is. The first time that they engage in any sort of sexual intimacy, look, I said sexual intimacy and the fire department's showing up because they know it's about to get spicy. The first time that child, that boy, experiences sexual intimacy, what does he fall back on? He falls back on his knowledge on pornography. And what happens is, this is not a boy and a girl having an intimate moment. This is a young man who is performing in a play. He is the writer, director, and main actor of this play, and he has casted this woman to be in his play, to help him fulfill his sexual fantasies. And he's written the script of what sex should be and what is expected of her. And normally, this girl's going to look at him and go, this is crazy, or this doesn't feel normal, or this is unnatural, or I don't feel comfortable doing this. And the guys take him back. He goes, well, look, this is the script. This is what the girls did in the porn. What's wrong with you? Why won't you? I don't understand. Why don't you like this? Not realizing that the girl in the porn is being paid, and maybe she doesn't even like it either. So what you do is you don't even look at her as a person with her own beliefs and her own desires and her own ideas. You look at her as another actress who is a part of your play. A play that you are directing, a play that you are leading in, and a play that you have written. Without her consent at all. And then when things don't line up, as you saw them in the video, there's a weird confusion. And guess what the girl does? 8 times out of 10, she says, you're disgusting, and she walks out. Well, what the hell? I don't understand. The girl in the porn left when this happened to her. What happens when you hide yourself from rejection? What happens when you avoid rejection? And then you get rejected? It hurts. Not only does it hurt, it cripples you. Because you're not used to getting rejected. And now all that shame that you felt from watching pornography, all that guilt that you felt from thinking, you know what, instead of pornography, maybe I should get a girlfriend. What does that do? That shame and that guilt pushes you back towards pornography, the place where rejection is not possible. And you go, well, look, there's something wrong with that girl because the porn there's no problem here. You know, they do everything accordingly. And now there's a disconnect, and this kid becomes further detached from what an actual relationship is and what safe sex should look like in relation to acknowledging each other's feelings, safeties, and boundaries. And this is tough, guys and gals, because that 16, 17, 18-year-old kid is now 24, 25. And we really don't know what the impacts of long-term watching pornography are. So this is this cycle that feeds itself to it, where he's built up such a big tolerance where he's going, look, the things that I need to turn me on, this girl probably won't be able to do. Plus, there's a chance that she'll reject me. Dude, I gotta be stupid to go out and get a girlfriend. I gotta pay for gas. I don't know how to talk to women. I've never had to talk to women to fulfill my sexual desires until now. So now you're 25 years old. You don't know how to talk to a woman. Regular things don't turn you on anymore. For the lack of a better word, you're in a bit of a pickle. You are a bit of a pickle. You are a bit of a pickle. Yeah, okay, sure. And that can be a really tough spot to be in. And the first step is recognizing that cycle. I mean, like, okay. Look, pornography or anything that can be consumed, its idea is to be addictive, right? No one makes, let's say, a bag of chips with the idea of like, hey, I hope people don't overeat. They're like, how can I make this as delicious as possible so you keep coming back? And what happens is, when we watch pornography, those areas of our brain that are receptive, that get turned on, that release hormones, are extremely similar to the ones that we get turned on if we're actually having sex with someone. So that blurs the line. And it's so much more comfortable. You're at home. Again, you don't have to worry about how you look. You don't have to worry about hygiene. You don't have to worry about working on your social skills. So what at first seems like a cheat code to avoid all that, eventually turns into like, oh man, I lost out on the skill of, what is this word? Of building rejection tolerance. Being okay with being rejected. I've not been able to work on the skill of how do I talk to the opposite sex or to the sex that I'm attracted to? How do I do that? How do we escalate things? What if they don't feel comfortable? How can I become turned on? How can I lower my tolerance because of all this pornography that I've watched? Like, these are serious questions that impact you over time. How do you hold down a relationship? Like, what happens if you're a young man and you're in a relationship and it gets to the point where you go, look, when I'm with my girlfriend, I'm thinking about porn. Or when I'm sleeping with my girlfriend, I can't wait till she leaves so I can watch the porn, so I can see the stuff that I'm actually into. Like, that's some pretty damaging stuff, folks. And we don't know what the lasting impact is on that. I think it'll be one of those things in 15, 20, 30 years. I think that's when we'll really see some of the lasting impacts and consequences of pornography. And I think if you're a young man, it is so easy to be excluded from society, to be a bit of a loner, right? When they have this ideal of you're Captain America, you're supposed to be confident, you're supposed to walk into a room, and when you're not that, it's very easy to withdraw. One reason that I think OnlyFans has been very successful is because they've realized the importance of a greater connection more than just sexually. What I mean by that is, look, if you're a young man and let's say you've got your favorite porn stars, you go back to them like YouTube, like you follow them, you like, you comment, all that stuff. And where was I going with this? Right, you've got your favorite stars. Now, OnlyFans takes it one step further because they'll reach out to you and they'll go, look, what do you want me to do? Like, hi, Daniel. Hi, John. Hi, Rick. Thank you so much for watching my videos. First of all, they're aware of your name. They say your name. Second of all, they'll probably say, look, this is how much I charge. Like, these are the things that I can do. I'll send photos specifically just for you. Tell me what you want me to wear. I have this, this, and this. So now we're taking a further step into it. Whereas at first, there was no interaction on my piece, but now it's becoming more personable. We see this in video games already. Video games capitalized on this a few years ago when they realized the more that a person can personalize the situation, the more invested they become, right? So there's something psychologically interesting when you can like pick your character's name, when you can change their appearance, when you can, like, if you play like an RPG, you can like change the character, if he's a warrior, if he's a hunter, this and that, to your liking. And I think like that idea was absolutely brilliant. Spotify does this thing where every year they release your data. They're like, hey, we tracked your data, but to make it not come off as creepy and like unethical, we'll say that it's personalized and your aura is bold and majestic and your top artists are this, and you're highlighting how unique you are and you're highlighting your personal choices. And that makes us more invested because we feel like we learn more about ourselves. So what a girl does on OnlyFans goes, look, not only do you have the video, but now there's a communication. We're talking to each other. You acknowledge my existence, right? You thank me specifically. And when I say, hey, make a video of you wearing this red lingerie, and you do, that's just another level of investment, because now I'm interacting. Like, there's this term, it's called parasocial relationships, and essentially this relationship that you have with content creators. Some of you, or most of you who listen to this podcast, I know personally, and I thank you for your support. There's going to be some people who I just know you as acquaintances, and there's also some people who I've never met before in my life, and we've probably never even talked. One thing that's going to surprise a lot of people, it sure surprised me, is I've got a decent following from Kyrgyzstan. That's right. My brothers and sisters from Kyrgyzstan, I thank you for your support. I don't think, no, we've never met. You've never sent me a message, but I appreciate your following from Kyrgyzstan. So thanks for that, right? And the cool thing happens is, like, I might not know you very well, but you know a lot about me. Like, if some dude from Kyrgyzstan who's been watching a bunch of my videos was visiting here and met me, he could recite a lot about me back to me from different episodes and things that I've said. And what happens is it builds some sort of familiarity, it builds trust, it builds loyalty. You see my videos over time, it's a weekly thing. You're like, I know this guy, I trust this guy, and I like him, right? And these things all happen at an implicit level, implicit meaning unconscious level. So I think OnlyFans, from a marketing business perspective, I think it's brilliant to double down on that. You're bringing in interaction. But I don't know if worry is the right word, but there is a part of me that genuinely thinks about what happens when we double down and now we get a little bit more emotionally involved as opposed to just being sexually involved. Because now we're building a relationship. Now it's more than just, look, you're a body that I get turned on by. Now it's a part where it's like, look, I want more, and I want to be able to talk to you. And maybe we do talk. Maybe you get to a point where you're FaceTiming. Like, maybe you get to a point where now you're talking back and forth and she's charging you like God knows how much money for like 15 minutes, as if she's a lawyer and you're paying for like a consultation. And anyways, it can really transpire, and I think it can transform itself into something much greater. And by greater, I don't mean that in a good light necessarily, but I mean we can become even more invested than we already are. So look, my message here isn't, oh God, let me be careful with what I'm about to say. Look, I am not your pastor, I am not your father, I am not your brother, I am not your professor. I'm not here to say that you should never watch pornography. I'm not here to say you should always watch pornography. I don't even know if moderation is a good idea. The fact of the matter is, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I don't know how much information there is on pornography in terms of like the literature right now. I think there'll only be more as time progresses. But I would just want you to be aware of the fact of pornography and the impacts that it can have on young men. Now, again, it's different. Maybe you have a girlfriend and maybe you also watch it on the side once a week, once a month. I don't know. I don't know you, dude. Right? So how can I judge? No, man, you shouldn't. Or yeah, you should. I've seen some articles saying, no, man, pornography is good. It's healthy for you. It's good. Express yourself. I don't know. And I don't want to judge you if you watch. I don't want to judge you if you don't watch. But I think it's important to talk about these subjects because they're very real. They're very real. And they have impacts. They have impacts, especially on young men, especially in that young 16, 17 to kind of 25-year-old phase. Where, look, if that's you, like if I've been talking about you throughout this video, I don't want you to feel attacked. I don't want you to feel belittled. You're not alone. But take a moment and just think about, what would life look like? Because I know what you're thinking. You're going to say, what would life look like if I never looked at pornography again? No. That's not what I'm thinking. What would life look like if you were in a relationship that fulfilled all of your sexual desires to the point where you didn't need to look elsewhere for that? And what would that be like? So there's a difference, right? Because in the first one, you're looking at reducing something, reducing pornography use. And the second one, you're looking at intensifying or increasing the magnitude of happiness and satisfaction in which you're filling out your sexual desires or your sexual needs. You're tending to them. So really, as always, as every episode does, take some time, think about what I've said, think about your place, think about your relationship with that world, and, is it healthy? Judge for yourself. You know, you tell yourself what's wrong. Why is it healthy? Why is it not healthy? Think about the last time you talked to the sex that you were attracted to. Are you in a relationship? Are you not in a relationship? And if you're not in a relationship, do you think that watching pornography discourages you from going out there and maybe being in a relationship? Folks, thank you very much for listening. I know this was a hard topic to listen to. It definitely wasn't an easy topic to talk about because there's so many different perspectives on it. I hope you appreciate it. I thank you so much for your support again on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. I hope you enjoy and take some time to think, reflect, relax, and please don't be too hard on yourself. Please take the words that I've said with a grain of salt, okay? I wish you the best. Stay safe, everybody. Take care.